Alright, so now we're going to deal with this screen up here. So we're just talking about the buttons going straight down. So we have the meters. The meters just allow us to put different things on the screen right here. They aren't extremely useful. I don't find myself depending on them during shows, but you can just hit meters right there. Click on which one you want to change, custom 1, 2, 3 or whatever. And then drag things on there. Hit apply, and now they're down here so you can see them. They're just back down on this custom screen down here. Okay, now this effects button, don't run effects from here, do it from the faders down there. If you just ignore this button, you'll be fine. The I/O, there's going to be a separate video on this later, but if you do not absolutely 100% know what you're doing in here, don't come in here. There's no way to really damage this board, but this going in here will cause issues. Because when I give some troubleshooting steps later, this is one that's very commonly forgotten because it shouldn't change. So please just stay out of the I/O unless you know what you're doing. We have scenes down here. There'll be a later video on how to make scenes for big shows, but that's done from right here. This is the ganging button. All ganging does is allow us to push faders together. So I'm about to make a gang with the floor mics, and I'm down here are the aspects you're ganging. So right now the high pass, the gate, the equalizer, and all the things that are checked are ganged. I hit apply. So now we go down to the fader, and you can see they all move together because they're all on the gang. Not extremely useful unless you have two faders that are a copy of the same thing. Like you're using the XLR aux in the back, you would gang those two together because they're two of the same signal. Or you have two mics coming in on two different channels for some, or one mic coming in on two channels for some reason, you could gang those together. It's not extremely useful. I actually am not a fan of that button being there. I think there are other things it could be. And then we have the setup button. This is where everything is. The most important button over here on the side are processing and setup. Processing takes us back to our home screen where we can go and start changing aspects of mics, and setup allows us to change the board. So setup audio. Setup audio. We're going to go through each screen one by one. Setup audio PFL. This allows us to change how the PFL works. Right now it's on single, so only one thing can be PFL at a time, but we can change that to additive and PFL multiple things. Talkback. The talkback mic allows us to make a mic to talk to something. There's a little button right here above what are called the soft keys. This little button right here. We can plug a mic in the back, and we can change the source by just dragging up on the bottom source right there. And we can talk to just the monitors. So if we have musicians on stage, like for a mic check, we can hook up a mic and put it in just monitor bank A and B, and then I can hit this button and I can talk into a microphone, and they can only hear me on stage, and when I'm done talking to them, let go of the button and they can't hear me anymore. It's a very great thing, but that's set up right here in the talkback screen, and this is where you change what mic it is. So if we had something in the back, we go to input sockets. Let's say, I don't want to scroll all the way there, but let's say it's a D-Snake 8. You can just hit apply, and now that mic is there. So now we can talk back with just that one button right there. Great feature. Next we have the signal generator. The signal generator allows us to do exactly what it says, generate a signal. So when you click on where you want to send it, right now I'm going to send it to the mains, and I'm about to send white noise to the main. So I'm pulling the level up. Now we have white noise in the mains. You can do that to the monitors or to anywhere you want to send it. This is very useful later when we talk about line checking and mic checking. We'll get into that. But from this screen we can also do a sine wave, pink noise, or bandpass noise. And we can change the frequency of the sine wave. Next we have the automatic mic mixer. If I can click on it, it will probably have its own video. It's a fairly newer feature of the board, but it changes levels based on other people talking. I've never used it in a show before, I will say that much. We have USB audio. We can both play back from a USB and record to a USB. When we get into the I/O, I'll show you how to do that. And then we have these two on the end that don't matter. Then we have control. Controlled stripper sign is probably what people come in here for the most, because it allows us to change what faders are where. So right now, we have our 4 floor mics right here on the end of our faders. We can swipe those off up here on the screen, and now they're gone. And now we can swipe in test and put it over there. This first one, IP, stands for inputs. The big thing to take note of is right here at the end of the inputs are 2 stereo faders. These are going to be very important in just a minute. Next we have the effects. If we want to put some effects down here, we can drag them in or throw them off. Mix is where we have our monitors if you want to move your monitors around. The mains and subs are also in there if you want to move those around. The monitor screen on here doesn't have anything we want. It does not have anything we use because our monitors are mixes. DCAs, if you need other DCAs or you need to move them, you may notice this board has 16 DCAs on it right now. So you can have as many as you need to just drag on there. And then we have MIDI channels. If one of you guys wants to learn MIDI and learn how to do all that show control, you can. I don't know how to do it. But that's where the faders are for it. Name and color, again, this screen is not particularly useful. It's a lot like the effects button. It's better to just do it on the channel itself. So don't really worry about that. Don't forget that it's going to select on the channel and then hitting right up there. That's how we change our name and color. Next we have the soft keys. Those are these buttons right here. We can make these buttons do specific things. And we'll talk about that when we get to scening and doing larger shows. That's how we change scenes and shows. Surface presets. That's how we change what these buttons down here do. That is also right here at the top where we set what the Alt View button does. It should almost always be set decibel, which is very useful because now we can hit Alt View and we can see what level every fader is at. Normally you have to nudge it a little bit to see where it is, but now we just hit Alt View and it's right there. And don't forget that is in Control, Surface Preferences, Alt View. You can also link the layers together if you want to move both at the same time. Would not really recommend that. Here's the MIDI again, if you guys want to learn that. And then under Control Dimmer, that's where we change the brightness of the LED screen and of the LCD strips.
So just for our purposes now, can we maybe turn the brightness down?
Oh, the touchscreen?
Yeah, just to see. No, go back up. Yeah, just somewhere in the middle is good, I guess. And go back to, let's do the LEDs too.
If we change the strip, these strips down here will change color. They'll get brighter and lighter. I try to keep these as low as possible with still seeing them, because if you've ever watched a show in here and you sat behind this booth is a bundle of brightness. Because the board lamp is on, this lamp is on, so the script person can see their script, and this screen's on, and all these are color lit up. It's very bright when you're sitting behind the booth. So I try to keep it as dim as possible in here to not be a hindrance.
Okay.
But again, you got to see the work. Next we have memory. This is where the shows are. This is probably one of the next important thing, because now we can isolate and not have people change our things. So now I'm in blank V2, but you see we did Beauty and the Beast a while back. So right here is my Beauty and the Beast show. So whatever I do in blank V2, which is where I highly recommend starting a show from, it won't change what happened in Beauty and the Beast, and it won't change what's happening in Merritt's training show. And now we can go here. If I put a thumb drive in here, I can back it up to a thumb drive and have that show with me. So if someone comes in here and decides, we don't need that, and deletes it or changes things, I can restore from a thumb drive. And you just plug it in and hit copy to USB. And to load from a thumb drive, you load it in and copy to GLD. Nice and simple. And it's a nice, safe guarantee that things won't change. It's also a library manager. I wouldn't worry about that. The configure screen, this is where we change the parameters of the board. Shouldn't really need to do that. If you decide, oh man, I need more effects, or I need more auxes or matrices, that's where you do this. Try to stay out of the screen because you can change things in other shows from here. Main is always left-right. This bottom one should always be left-right because we only have 2 mains. Network, this is where you change how the wireless is configured. We can control this board from an iPad or a laptop remotely. It works how it is. If you install it on a new thing, like a new computer, you might need to get the IP address, and that is on the screen right here. And under config user profile over one more, this is where we make new users. Shouldn't really be an issue, but just show you where it is. And then utility, nothing particularly, use every day. Got a diagnostic screen. Change the time and date on here. It's sort of concerning. This time often gets off, so we can change it in here. You just go and scroll to what time it is. Calibration, if the touchscreen gets off or if the faders are incorrect, you can go and change them there. And firmware, it just shows what firmware is on here. Updates are regularly pushed for this board, and we'll probably do a short segment about how to update and change that. But that's really everything here. Just to recap, the biggest thing is setup, control, strip assign. That's how we're going to change what's on this board. That's how we're going to change what the faders do. Thank you.